speech here. First of all, I'd like to thank you all and welcome you here to help us celebrate Kevin's retirement from Harvard. Kevin has been with Harvard for over 13 years. Yeah. And most of that time, I think as most of you here know, was with FMO, Campus Services. The last couple of years, he jumped ship to come join us over here on this project, and very thankful to have him on board. So I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as I can, and if anybody else would like to...
How many pages, John?
I got a couple, and then Dina's got hers too. So.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Most of Kevin's time, additionally, he was also he owned his own business for many years. How many years?
20.
20 years?
Billy Fitzgibbons.
Before coming on board to Harvard and working with FMO. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my first experience with Kevin. A few years back when I worked on the Cambridge side for Seas, we were going through some energy audits. And so we had a guy from sustainability in, and he was going through the buildings, and he was looking for kind of low cost, low hanging fruit stuff that we could, show some improvement on energy, make some improvements. And so he came into one of our lab buildings, ESL, and he was looking at the HVAC system, and he's looking at it, he's looking into it, and he's like, I need to get another guy in here. He goes, we got this guy, Kevin Sheehan, he's our expert. And he goes, is it all right if we bring another guy in to look at us? I'm like, yeah, whatever you gotta do. We said, bring him in. So Kevin comes down, he introduces himself, he tells me a little bit about himself. He goes, hey, I'm gonna look into the system, we're gonna find out what's going on, I'm gonna dig into it, I wanna understand it, from the ground up. And so he spends a few days with us, he learns the system, he's pulling out the plans, he's looking at this. And the system that was in there, this was put in before my time. I had only been with Harvard for a couple of years. And it was put in by a previous guy. The team that had put it in, gone, warranty, much past warranty, it was probably 10 years old. And so, long story short, is it had a heat recovery system in it. And when Kevin digs into it, he finds out that the system was installed backwards. So, never worked. He goes, this system has never worked. He goes, Harvard paid whatever they paid for the system. You didn't get what you paid for. He goes,
was that Sheehan Mechanical?
I double dipped.
Yeah. So long story short, he comes to me, he goes, listen, I'm gonna get this fixed for you. He goes, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any money in the budget. It's just gonna cost me. This thing's been in here for 10 years. There's no way they're gonna come back and fix this thing. He's like, no, we paid them to do this job. They installed the thing backwards. He goes, they need to come and fix this. And I'm like, he goes, I'm gonna chase them down. He goes, is it all right if I speak on your behalf and chase after them and try to get them to fix this? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you wanna do. And to myself, I'm saying, there's no way they're gonna fix this thing. Now he goes, 10 years old, it's been in for a while.
It never ran.
It never worked. So long story short, Kevin comes back to me and he's like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to the boss and tell him I need $100,000 to fix this thing to make it work right. It's not gonna look good, and for anybody. And long story short is he chases after this vendor. I don't know how he made a deal. I don't know how he threatened him or what he offered up, but he went in and he negotiated for them to come back and do the right thing and basically put the system in correctly and fix it. Yeah, some of them. So that was my first experience with Kevin, and to me, that kind of spells out like what he's all about. Is like started out digging into the system. I mean, he learned the system from like the ground up. He wanted to understand it, before he made any decisions or recommendations. Number two is he found out that Harvard didn't get what they paid for at the end of the day, and to him it's about like doing the right thing. And so he chased after this vendor. He brought these guys back from, I think they came up from Florida to reinstall it and to make it right. and basically ran the project until it was completed and got the system working. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean, is like, it's about doing the right thing, not afraid to take on controversy. Chased after, to me, I was like, there's no way that they're gonna do the right thing 10 years after the fact, and he wasn't afraid to chase after him and try to make them do the right thing. And that was my first experience with Kevin. And when I took the job over here, Zach came to me and he said, he goes, hey, this is a complicated project. He goes, you need additional resources over here. And he goes, I think I got this guy. He goes, do you know Kevin? And I was like, oh yeah, I know Kevin. And had worked with him on this project and a couple other projects on the Cambridge side. And long story short is then Kevin jumped from FMO over to our team here and has really been an asset to the team and invaluable to making this very complicated project work, you know what I mean? So this project over here, he's been on it for a couple of years, or close to a couple of years. Gotten all kinds of accolades, LEED Platinum, Living Building Challenge, Healthy Building. It's been deemed or claimed to be one of the healthiest lab buildings in the United States. All kinds of different systems. I would say probably one of the most complicated projects that Harvard's undertaken to date. And I think Kevin would probably agree with me. But at the end of the day on this project, Kevin has just like dug in. He's learned every system from the ground up, understood it. He came to the project kind of late where a lot of the design was already done, and it was kind of halfway there, if you will, but it was in progress. So he didn't have a seat at the table in the early days, but in the later days of trying to make it work, he worked with the commissioning agent, kind of, in my opinion, oversaw the commissioning agent and kind of stepped with them through their steps to make sure they were doing it right at the end of the day, so that, when they handed it over, not to say there aren't still a few bugs in the system, but we're working through that in the building. But at the end of the day, I think we're left with the building on Kevin's shoulders at the end of the day, that we're in a much better place that we wouldn't be in if he wasn't here to set the roadmap for going forward.
Well, thank you, John.
And we have a couple gifts for Kevin to help kind of send him on his way and thank him for his service. And the first one we have is, we know Kevin is an avid tennis player, and there were a few guys here that he used to play with, but I think they went to the next party. So we want you, when you're playing tennis, to be in your appropriate Harvard attire.
These are the appropriate length shorts for
So we got you some official Harvard attire.
There you go.
Cool down, sweat, athletic attire. And we got you a C's, School of Engineering.
Something from C's.
Yep,
There you
we
go.
want you to make sure you work
Thank
for
you.
C's for a couple of years.
Yep.
And FAS, C's, FAS. So you got some C's logo attire. And aside from the tennis stuff, to kind of acknowledge your work on this project and for you to help you remember this building over here.
Oh, wow.
We have this model of the building, and the story of this model here is this was actually made by one of the labs in the building on a 3D printer.
Oh, that's cool.
And Len, where's Len? Len did some work on this as well.
Really?
Yep. Len painted it.
Oh, wow.
And
No
so,
kidding.
let me
Nice
just-
job. Yeah.
And so we want you to display this on your mantle, and it's got the C's logo on there, and it says Harvard University 2021, Alston SEC, Kevin Sheehan, in recognition of outstanding service. So we want you to remember this. And-
Thank you.
And again,
Fantastic, yeah.
to me, it's a big deal that, was made in the lab and
Yeah.
made by the lab, and so it's a little something to remember the project by.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, what else do we got?
Oh, wait, there's more.
All right,
Christmas.
We also got you a Harvard watch.
All right, the real one's coming to your house, but it's a special one. Hey, you guys, come on, we laminated it and everything.
So again, we want
It's gonna
in
look
your,
like that, but real.
Really?
Yeah.
when you're making appointments or matches on the tennis court, we don't want you to be late.
Can't be late.
No,
You can't be late.
Yeah, well, I've done that before. I've
There you
been
go.
late.
So that's coming to your house.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And,
Wow.
all right, and what else do we got?
Wow.
Oh, and we got a backpack, but we don't care about
Put all your items in that.
Oh,
But-
Wow,
to close, we also got you this little Irish blessing.
wow, wow.
So Kevin and I share something additional, is we both come from Irish heritage. And so to close here, I thought it might be appropriate to give you an Irish retirement blessing.
Thank you, yeah,
So I'll read this so you guys can all hear this.
yeah.
May you live a long life, full of gladness and health, with a pocket full of gold as the least of your wealth. May the dreams you hold dearest be those which come true. The kindness you spread keep returning to you.
So thank you so
Here, here.
much.
When I read that, I kind of thought of you. And also, I'd like to thank the majority of the people in this room that put this party together. I think you know who's responsible, and it wasn't me, so.
But anyway, hey, thank you all. You know what, you're all great friends of mine, business associates, but really great friends, and that means more to me than anything, you know? So, this has been just working in this building, well, first of all, working for Harvard for 13, 14 years directly, and I've been working for Harvard probably altogether 40 years, you know? And a long time, even when guys like myself and John Nolan, I don't know how long you've been here, John?
24.
24. John and I worked at Mass General 40, almost close to 45 years ago. You know, and I saw you at Blackstone one day, 13 or 14 years when I started working here. And it's funny how things always go in a big circle. John and I were great friends, playing softball years ago, 40 years ago. But this coming to Harvard was really special to me 13 or 14 years ago. When I was a contractor, I sold my business, and I had a little bump in the road life-wise, but I wanted to do something that I might enjoy. So I said, I'm gonna come to Harvard, because I knew so many of the people here. I'd been working here as a contractor. So so I did. I came here, and it was the best decision I ever made. This place is like absolutely second to none. You know, the people here are fantastic. Everybody here is like, you know, just so good, professional, caring, and it makes a big difference. Then when Zach asked me about this building here, you know, I was kind of like up on the fence, you know, what I was gonna do for my next few years. This has been a dream for me to come over here, an absolute dream, because really, this building is like it's a treasure. It's a treasure for Harvard. It's the most energy efficient lab building in the entire United States. You know, I mean, it has so many awards. It's fantastic. So I'm so happy to be part of this building and to be part of Harvard. So you all, thank you so much. I mean, you're all so lucky to be part of this institution. I've been in many buildings and companies, but Harvard's a special place. Even though you have a rocky day once in a while, just remember this place has been a rock, you know, for 450 years, you know. So anyway, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.